What is up, everyone? I am Joshua Banks, driver of the number 35 Matco Tool Supra.
Comes back. He's going to send it to the inside. They're 3 wide for the race lead. They're going to Sean Banks is going to win it. Unbelievable.
And also co-owner of M&J Distributors for the sponsor of Saturday Night Racing. So I just want to thank every single one of you for tuning into tonight's race. I hope you will put on a good show for you guys. I hope that you will enjoy it. So if you do, make sure you drop a thumbs up to V-Speed and subscribe to them, because they, as y'all know, if you haven't already, they put on some great broadcasts. So I'll make this short and sweet. The main reason for sponsoring Saturday Night Racing League is because I've been with these guys for a long time. I've raced with a lot of them. I've been through some rough times, some good times, and arguments and everything like that. But still, grand scheme of things, been through a lot of these guys, and I really do like where this league's going. I want to support it. They've given a lot to the league already, and I think, you know, I'm capable to support back. So that's what we're doing, and we want to keep this league free, you know, for people to join, to have a good time, come in and race and just have fun, you know, and that's what we're all about. So that's the main reason, and that's all I really have to say about it. So I hope you do enjoy the race, enjoy the season coming up. We are hopefully going to put on a great season for you guys. Also, make sure to check out my YouTube channel, Banksy the iRacer. Link will be in the description. Check out, and you can see my point of view, see what's happening on my end. If you want to watch it, it's completely fine. If not, no big deal. So come on over, hang out after the broadcast of this race, and hopefully we'll see you over there. If not, enjoy it, and I'll see you guys on track.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs.
From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items.
Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Welcome to the World Center of Racing here tonight from Daytona International Speedway for the opening race of the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series, live tonight on V-Speed. 60 laps here. It's 150 miles. We've got 3 tire sets available. Not going to be too much of an issue for most of these drivers, but if you have enough accidents, you might wear the tires out. We got 2 green light checkered attempts, 80% fuel load. So this is the opening race of the series. Just 10 races. Here we go, kicking things off for the Challenger Series for Saturday Night Racing League. Green flags in the air. We're off and away. And we got cars spinning, huge pile. The low
Logan Threlkeld with the advantage. Here goes Matthew Radford, gonna jump to the outside. It's gonna be a drag race, and Radford's gonna win it.
Wow, what a finish. Man, Radford just timed that perfectly.
He's going to come into 3 and 4 with about a half a second lead. Out of turn 4 for the final time. Across the line, it's Brian Chambliss with his first win of the season. And Jordan Trask, can they battle it out? They're going to get side by side. They're actually running it down here. What will Philip Brewer do? Will he try to get to the outside again? Not quite able to do it. Bryce clears him, but there goes Philip Brewer. Looks like Bryce Shoemaker is going to have no pressure from behind. Bryce Shoemaker is going to take the victory 128 laps without a pit stop. 1/1000th of a second across that line. Chuck Sweeney led that lap by. The white flag is out. Final time around for the Challenger Series at Michigan. The 2-mile speedway. If you're Dakota Boy here, what do you do right now? Look at the block down the backstretch. You're going to have to send it in hard here on the bottom, but Ferrara's got the preferred line. And they're 3-4 wide back here in the 10th position, but off in turn 4 for the final time, side by side. A door check, 3 wide for the lead. Ferrara is going to get the win at Michigan.
He's loose down there, though. He really sent it in there on the bottom here. Caleb trying to complete the pass here to grab that lead back.
A little bit of a slide job. Here comes Chuck Sweeting on his way by. Caleb Wheatley, after dominating here at Bristol, is going to take the win.
We'll see them both taking the high line, and he's in the back bumper of the 9.
Oh, man, I think he's going to hang on, though.
Chambliss able to hold on to it, keeps the momentum. The 44 does not have enough as Brian Chambliss takes home race number 10. Dakota Floyd finishing in the 6th position as our championship winner here tonight.
You're watching the Saturday Night Racing Challenger Series, only on V-Speed.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? It's the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series, and it is time for week number 7. Right at the midway point here for the regular season, it is Sonoma, where we're going to turn right and left tonight in these Xfinity cars. Welcome back inside the V-Speed booth. My name's Logan Threlkeld. Alongside me, as always, here on the Challenger Series is Jeff Wright. Jeff, how excited are you to see some road course action tonight?
Oh, so excited, Logan. This is such a fun racetrack. It's a very challenging racetrack, too. So this is a type of track that really rewards the guys that can manage and save their stuff and also be consistent over the long run. It's going to be easy to get into a little bit of trouble here. You know, it's hot, it's slick. You get off into that grass, you know, you could very well be going towards the wall. So haven't really had a race like this for the Challenger Series. We have yet to be at a road course either in this season or season 1. So going to be really exciting to see which guys are going to find themselves towards the front. But I'd say most importantly, which guys can execute and take this thing home, because you're going to have to hit a pit stop, you know, green flag, middle of this race. We're going to have a stage caution, staying out of trouble early. We're going to have to see it all. And I think you're going to see the best drivers rise to the top here tonight.
It's going to take consistency 100% throughout this race. Track map up on your screen. Jeff, I know you're extremely good here at Sonoma. Why don't you run the people down of what we're looking at here?
Yeah, so I'd say, you know, one of the best zones to make up time is right there on the front straightaway into turn 1. It's an uphill section. You carry a lot more speed there than what a lot of people think. So I see a lot of drivers really give up a lot of time through that section of the racetrack. And then, you know, through 2 to 4 down to 5, it's really all about just staying on track, managing your rear tires. That's going to be a topic of big discussion tonight. You have a bit of a passing zone down there into turn 6. You see a lot of guys try to make some dive bombs in that area. And then here comes the S's. You got to be really smooth through this section of the racetrack. This is also another section where a lot of time can be lost or gained. So the guys that are consistent, can get through the S's consistently here tonight, are going to be the ones probably contending for the win. And then it's that right-hander there in turn 10. You got to get through that corner very, very quickly, because that lines you up for the passing zone there in turn 11. And not a lot of passing zones at this racetrack. So I'd say turn 10 is probably one of the most important corners as well, just to make sure you get through there quickly. And then obviously getting down probably close to first gear. Some guys are going to leave it in second in turn 11. But that pretty much takes you a lap around this racetrack. Easier said than done, I'll say, Logan, and a lot of opportunities to get it off track and make a mistake.
You are correct about that. A quick look at your points coming into tonight. Dakota Floyd with a 16-point advantage over Jordan Trask. Caleb Weekly right there in third place, only 4 points behind second. Austin Belkey sitting in the fourth spot with Matt Shanoski, Judson Curtis, Bryce Shoemaker all behind. Michael Muncy, Noah Mahalski, and Philip Brewer will make up the rest of your top 10. Matt Dominique, Keith Shoemaker, Morgan Cook there, 11th, 12th, and 13th. The V-Speed broadcast driver car between myself and Bradley Cooper, who will be on track tonight, sitting in 14th. Stephen Davis, Brandon Wallace, Justin Carey, Max Cost, TJ Peters, and Jeremy Reed will make up the rest of your top 20. Jeff, we've got a big field here tonight. I believe last count I saw was 32 cars. Qualifying is completed. They are on the starting grid. Why don't we get right into it and see who we've got sitting on the pole? Taking pole tonight's going to be Philip Brewer in the 44 with a 119.252 with Dakota Floyd on the outside line. Morgan Cook in the 51 will take up the inside line of row number 2. Timothy Peters outside of him. Noah Mahalski in the 03 will take up the 5th spot next to the 18 of Rob Hamp. 7th goes to Justin Carey in the 21 next to the 79 of Jordan Trask. Rob Denton in the 93 will take the 9th spot on the night, and V-Speed's very own Bradley Cooper will make up the last spot in the top 10.
In the next row, we have a pair of race winners from last season. Austin Belkey rolls off 11th, followed by Caleb Weekly in the 13. Starting in 13th tonight, going to be Jacob Locklear in the 84. Starting alongside Ben Laughter in the 64, a road ringer. Watch out for him later tonight. Brian Hennings rolls off 15th alongside the Daytona winner of this season, Judson Curtis. In the 17th starting position, it's going to be Bryce Shoemaker in that 54 alongside Matt Shanoski in the 31. And in 19th, going to be Mark McFadden rolling off in that number 5 machine alongside Tad Dabney, rounding out the field, or rounding out the top 20 rather.
To make up the rest of our 12 remaining cars, Elton Stewart will start in the 21st position next to Michael Muncy in the 19. Brandon Wallace in the 99 with 23rd. Jeremy Reed in the 24th spot. 25th goes to Logan Watern in the 75 next to Max Cost with no qualifying effort. Same as Stephen Davis in the 60. Benjamin Richards will be in 28. And our top 30 will be Keith Shoemaker and Chris Rude. 2 more to go will be Matt Dominique and Greg Spiker to round out our 32-car field. And they're already down through the S's, Jeff. Let's get right to the action here. See what these guys have in store for us. Getting ready to come down into the hairpin section of the track.
It looks like actually lights just came back on here on the pace car. We're going to do one more time here while pacing, which probably not a bad idea, Logan, considering this will give these guys an opportunity to get a little bit more heat in those tires. And I know it's a hot and slick racetrack, but cold tires is still something that is very treacherous on these types of road courses. I guess since we're doing the extra pace lap, that gives us time to maybe look at some of our picks for tonight. I don't know if you have anybody in mind tonight, Logan, but it looks like just based off the practice speeds, the qualifying speeds, we got a tight group of guys here up towards the front. It's going to be tough to pick a race winner.
It's going to be very tough to pick a race winner indeed. We've got Philip Brewer sitting on the pole. That is the perfect spot you want to be. Gives you an opportunity to get some distance between yourself and the rest of the field coming into the first the last half of the first lap really is when you'll start to see the leaders separate if they can find that extra speed. Morgan Cook's a good pick there, but ultimately I think I'm going to have to go with that number 20 of Timothy Peters. I know how much work he's put into this race tonight in practice, so it'd be really cool to see that 20 machine up there on the top spot of the podium. How about yourself?
Yeah, it's kind of tough. I'm looking at it, I really feel like there's probably, a handful of race winners that it could happen tonight, just solely looking off the speed. But, I know this track rewards consistency, rewards people, that can stay out of trouble, and obviously be very good on the long run. So with all that being said, I think somebody that kind of fits that narrative tonight, and a few of them do, but I think the one that gets it tonight, give me that 51 there, Morgan Cook. I think he gets it done tonight from the third place starting position.
That would be ideal for the Cook machine. Let's throw up our race analysis here on the screen. 45 laps on the night, 45 miles per hour in pit road when they do come down. 4 tire sets available, 2 green-white checkered attempts with an 80% fuel load on the iRacing Fix setup. That staged break is going to happen at the completion of lap number 8, the beginning of lap number 9. So keep you updated on that as Philip Brewer brings us into the hairpin here. Pace car is off. We'll be going live here momentarily from Sonoma, California. The 44 on the front row. Green flag will be in the air, and we're green at Sonoma. There it is. That little jump for the 44 is exactly what he needed. A little bit of shuffling behind. 51 of Morgan Cook still in a good spot to challenge the 20. Now finally slides in here. Looks like our top 10 now single file out. Caleb Weekly door to door with the 84. Jacob Locklear. This is for the 11th position. Weekly with the advantage, hard on the brakes, side by side, right behind for Ben Lafter, Brian Hennings.
And so far, so good, Logan. These guys are taking care of each other, not making a whole lot of contact or anything. And as I say that, there goes Ben Lafter in the 64. So he's going to go for a spin. I guess I jinxed him there, but going to lose a lot of track position here. I was just about ready to say that, this race is really broken up into 2 parts. And, that's obviously because we have a stage at the completion of lap 8. So as soon as we take lap 9, we will throw a caution. The beginning of this race is all about, taking care of your stuff and taking care of your car, making sure you got something to work with for the last half of this race, because that's where you're going to have to make a green flag pit stop. And obviously, if you get some damage in the early goings here, which is easy to do when we have this many cars all, next to each other on an initial start of the race, you really got to be on your toes here and take care of your stuff. And so far, the guy in the driver's seat right now, that's the 44 Philip Brewer. Thankfully for him, he doesn't have anybody in front of him. So just going to try to keep that charging 57 of Dakota Floyd behind him.
So take care of your stuff. Take care of business. The 44 Philip Brewer doing just that already with a half-second lead. We just completed lap 1. Dakota Floyd, he's not out of the picture just yet. Any minute mistake that can be made will close that gap instantly, Jeff.
Well, absolutely. And looking through the S's here, I mean, look how hard these cars are hitting the curbs here. Some drivers elect to really hit the curbs hard. Some guys try to stay off of them. I've always been the type of driver that I like to use the curbs to help rotate the car. As you see right on board with Rob Denton, really loose coming down the hill here as he's going to set himself up here for turn 10. This is that really important right-hander corner that we talk about. You got to get a really good run through that section of the track to send you down on into turn 11. And it can also be a trouble zone. We could see dive bombs gone wrong in this section. This is where you could see a lot of action and a lot of trouble potentially.
It's a very easy place to lock up the rear brakes, get some wheel hop, and send yourself around. And if you're trying to battle for position, that is not what the guy to your outside wants to see by any means. A little bit further up there, I saw a battle around the 4 of Eldon Stewart. See if we can catch up here. Looks like it sorted itself out now. Stewart leading the charge with Mark McFadden, Michael Muncy, Matt Shinosky all right behind. 4 cars very close. Looks like Muncy going to take a look to the inside of the 5 machine. He's going to get the position. Matt Shinosky looking now to take advantage. He's going to get by Mark McFadden as well. McFadden dips left sides off into the grass, if you really want to call it grass, on a big sin to the inside now for the 9 of Tad Dabney. He'll get through. McFadden losing 3 positions in the matter of about 4 corners.
Yeah, and that was a really good executed pass there, too, by the 9 of Tad Dabney. So that can be a trouble spot, too. You see a lot of guys that make a pass there end up making contact with the driver to their outside. It's really not the ideal place to make a pass. So the fact that he was able to make that pass and make it cleanly, just good heads-up driving from him. And here comes Ben Laughter in the 64, went for a spin early, lost a lot of track position, but the one good thing for him is that we do have a stage break, and so that will open up the door for some strategy, maybe to get some that track position back, maybe pitting before the stage and staying out at the stage caution. That could be an option for Ben, but I'm sure he's thinking right now, how can he get himself back up towards the front? Because he has the pace. He's a really good road course driver. Just a little bit of tough luck in the early goings getting spun out.
Very much indeed. Has Ben Laughter, one of our drivers with the driver cam on the night. See if the stage will help him get from that 20th position anywhere back up to where he started in 14th. They might need a little bit of help from that yellow coming back out and stacking things up for us. Keep an eye on him later throughout the race. Back up towards the front, though, Philip Brewer has gotten away even further now, nearly a second separating himself in the 57 of Dakota Floyd. Already coming around down into the hairpin once more. See if Floyd can make up any ground here. A little bit later on the brakes, however, it doesn't look like it's going to make much of a difference for the 57. Still hovering right around that 0.8 to 0.9 area behind.
And you can really see these top 2 drivers, Philip Brewer, Dakota Floyd, kind of separating themselves a little bit from the rest of the pack in this first run. So they've jumped out to a bit of a lead over the rest of the field, but don't count these guys out yet either. So Timothy Peters, Morgan Cook, they're not too far down the road either. It's a little bit of a gap back to the 18 there in Rob Hamp, who currently runs in 5th. But really, this entire top 4 looks like they're the guys with the most speed, at least at the moment. That could obviously change, and it's going to be really important who's going to be quick on that long run. So not going to see too much of a long run on this first stint, as we're only going to go 8 laps and then throw the competition caution for the stage. But I'm really excited, Logan, to see what this second half of the race is going to look like. They're not going to be able to make it to the end on fuel, so they're going to have to pit. And this is a tricky pit road too. So, I mean, I've seen people make mistakes pitting under caution here. That wall, it can really jump out at you and get you some damage, and there could go your race. So going to have to be really on your toes, make sure you're not having any trouble getting into pit lane tonight.
That pit road entrance, you'll see it on the left side here, driver's side of the car, pit road entry right there, right before the hairpin. Jeff, I wonder if we'll see any of these drivers try to undercut that competition caution. I know there's some talks about it. Caleb Weekly, big time loose, coming out of the hairpin, able to collect it back up. Gets going once more. Another one of our drivers with the driver cam on the night. Let's hop on board here with Caleb Weekly, see what it's like around about the first half of this racetrack.
Yeah, and you're going to see Caleb really wheeling this thing. You're going to see a lot of counter steer into the corners. It's just such a hot racetrack. It's very slick. It's clear skies out there, so the sun is absolutely baking this track. And you can see it right there in his wheel movement. I mean, look how much correcting he's having to do, center of the corner. Getting into this is one of my favorite corners of the racetrack. You can clip that little curb right there and get a good run down the chute here. This is another passing zone that we talked about that's going to be big. Uses the curbing there to help rotate the car, but you're seeing a lot of steering input. That tells me that this car is a handful right now, and it's pretty evident watching Caleb try to wheel this thing. Really good through the S's here, though. Look at the run that he's catching here on the 2 of Bradley Cooper. Now going to go for a pass here on the 2 of Bradley Cooper, so Caleb Weekly, mark him up another spot.
So one more position gain for the 13 machine. That is the first position loss for Bradley Cooper. Started out 10th to get this race going. Not a whole lot of movement throughout the top 10, but Austin Belkey, Caleb Weekly, Rob Denton all up 2 positions so far. Good start for those drivers. Michael Muncy up 8 already on the night. Max Koss is up 7, back in the 19th spot. A couple drivers to really keep your eye on as they move through the field. That 19, he's got some pace here, evidently.
Yeah, it certainly does. And you touched on Max Koss briefly there for a moment, too. I believe from season 1 of the SNR Cup Series, I think he was the highest finishing driver that's in the field currently. So Saturday Night Racing League has only ever been here one time in either series, Cup Series or Challenger Series. Max Koss scored a top 10 that race. So we know that he has what it takes to get around this racetrack. A little bit different car than what we visited the first time around in Saturday Night Racing League. We were in the Gen 4 car today, obviously, Xfinity Series, so it's a little bit different, but nonetheless, Max Koss is picking them off one by one, and you see Ben Laughter that was just ahead of him, too. And I'm sure Ben Laughter's tires are probably screaming at him right now just because of that initial slide. Really nothing that he did from a driver standpoint. And speaking of scorching tires, Dakota Floyd trying to get off of turn 11 and get down the straightaway, that went for a big slide as well.
So that's going to be Dakota Floyd's first lap, led Philip Brewer. He brought it down pit road to beat that stage caution. So he will take that undercut. See what happens to him. A lot of drivers now coming down, looks like, as well as Philip Brewer. We have Morgan Cook, Noah Mahalski in the pits, Rob Denton, Jordan Trask, Caleb Weekly, Michael Muncy, Judson Curtis now in the pit road. 21 of Justin Carey is also come down. Quite a few drivers electing to undercut.
Yeah, and I really do like that strategy. It just ensures you that you're going to have track position when we go back green. And, you know, the lap that they're going to make here with those tires, they're not going to be running this racetrack at, you know, full speed. So they're not going to wear them a ton. And I just think that the track position is so valuable at a racetrack like this that I really like that call to come pit before the stage. Get your tires, get your fuel, get back out there, and then you can stay out. And Philip Brewer will be the race leader when we go back green because he's not going to have to come back in.
But Dakota Floyd's going to bring it around town here in the hairpin. Caution already out for the stage. A little bit early there, Jeff.
Yeah, and I think that was discussed in the drivers' meeting that the caution was going to be thrown as the leader was coming to take lap 9 and complete lap 8, just so the pace car could get out in front of him and the cars wouldn't have to go all the way around another lap. So that looks like routine, and we're going to see Dakota Floyd's going to catch the pace car here, and the rest of the field's going to be able to catch up here, and we're going to get ready for some pit stops here under the caution flag. And everybody that decided to come in and pit before that, they're all going to cycle out to the lead. So the running order here is going to get a little jumbled up. And I can tell you, Logan, when you're a front runner, kind of like these two are right now, Dakota Floyd, Timothy Peters, you're going to be back in traffic, and that always makes you nervous at a track like Sonoma, just because there's so much that can go wrong in front of you, and, you know, it might not be any of your doing. And even if, you know, they do get through unscathed, it's just the guys that stay out with the clean racetrack in front of them, you know, they might be a few seconds ahead of them by the time they get through the traffic. So it's going to be a little bit of a tough thing to overcome, I think, for these top two front runners, but they certainly have the speed, and they've shown that this far.
That they have, and by my count, Jeff, it looks like 9 cars will cycle out ahead of these two from taking that undercut there. We'll have Philip Brewer, like you mentioned, assuming the lead once more. Morgan Cook, Mahalski, Denton, Trask, Weekly, Davis, Shoemaker, Muncy, and Curtis. All those drivers should be ahead of Dakota Floyd, Timothy Peters whenever we get back to green flag racing. So it certainly shakes things up. It's going to be a lot more difficult for that 57 to drive through 9 cars rather than just the one that he had to start this race next to. Big shakeup for the 57 and the 20, and pretty well everybody following suit.
Yeah, now you got to hit this pit stop cleanly, so got to get in and out of that box in a good manner here. You can't afford to lose any positions here on pit lane. Yeah, I think we're going to have to keep our eyes on these two cars, 57 and the 20, when we go back racing. because they're very fast cars, but they're going to find themselves right in the middle of the pack. And looks like Dakota Floyd is away. He's going to retain the lead, followed by Timothy Peters in the 20. Rob Hamp just behind in the 18. Bradley Cooper, haven't talked a whole lot about him, but obviously this is a track that he's been looking forward to tonight and been showing some promise. Look for him to, maybe be a factor here this second stint.
Cooper, another driver with a driver cam on the night. Started out in 10th. He's back to 12th. But we'll see if any change in strategy will come into play for the 2 machine. That's kind of the great thing about doing a stage caution, Jeff, is you allow these drivers to see what they can do in the first couple laps where they know they're safe to get stacked back up and catch back up to the field if something does go awry. So we'll have to keep an eye on the 2. Starting on the outside row, 6 rows deep. Or outside lane, 6 rows deep, rather. But we've got the iRacing safety car Porsche coming back down through the hairpin. This should be the last ace lap once they cross that checkered line. And then we'll have our all-out sprint to the end. Keep in mind, just like Jeff Wright had mentioned, these drivers will have to pit one more time with that 80% fuel load on the night, kind of forcing the hand at a green flag pit stop, giving a little extra challenge to the SNR Challenger Series.
And I'm wondering what kind of strategy these guys are on. Austin Belke, 24, Matt Shanosky in the 31. I don't think they pit at all. So, yeah, so that's going to be interesting. The speed differential, I feel like, is going to be pretty significant here. So, Philip Brewer, I thought was going to come out, be the race leader, but now he's got some traffic to deal with here. Morgan Cook was one of those drivers that is on the same strategy as the 44, Philip Brewer. This will be an opportunity for him to maybe get around the 44, if he has a little bit of trouble with the traffic. But anytime you have differing tire strategies at a road course, especially at a track that eats up and chews the tires as much as Sonoma does, that makes me a little bit worried for these guys, and I hope that everybody can just kind of get through them cleanly. I think I know what the strategy call is that they're going for, though. They're kind of hoping, that they can be net positive. They know that they're going to fall back here. They're just hoping that they're, by the time pit stops come around, that having stayed out here is going to net them a little bit more track position. But this is going to be interesting here, so keep it tuned right here to V-Speed. We got some differing tire strategy here, some really fast cars behind the first row here on fresh tires. So this is going to get wild, I think.
I would have to say you're correct about that. There's a lot of positioning at stake when you try to pull one of these maneuvers, but it seems like they might be going for that perfect split down the middle of the race. One pit stop only rather than coming in at the stage and still having to take one later on. We'll see if it pays off. And pace car lights still on. Some of the pack still trying to catch up, so we'll go one more time around here. But while we do that, let's send it to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back here live for green flag coverage to the very end. Stick around. You don't want to miss it.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
And we're back live just in time for the green flag to drop, and Austin Belke leads the inside line. A little bit of a stack up there for Dakota Floyd back in the 57. Getting a little bit of a hair scramble going on here, Jeff. We were just talking about that during the commercial break. Things could get quite hectic as Philip Brewer sends it 3 wide, and we're just at the beginning part of this course. Still battling side by side with Austin Belke. He's going to get by, but it's 3 wide right behind Morgan Cook in the middle. Noah Mahalski off track there. Dakota Floyd almost follows suit. And another, I don't believe that yellow's correct, Jeff. Are you? It looks like it is.
I'm guessing maybe the track was blocked. Something must have happened a little bit deeper in the field that we didn't catch. But man, 3 wide racing for the lead here at Sonoma Raceway. Are you kidding me? That is something that you don't see every day. But yeah, I'm guessing that's what happened. Something a little bit further back. The track must have been blocked. That is the one exception to road course cautions, is if there is a pileup that is actively blocking the racetrack, race control will throw the yellow. So that could have been what happened. I didn't see it live.
There it is. I think I just spotted it.
Yeah, 79 went off track. Yeah, and that makes sense why there would be a yellow right there. So unfortunate for the guys that got caught up there, but man, we were watching some incredible battles for the race lead. I mean, I saw Dakota Floyd 3 wide going up the hill, and then I think I saw Rob Denton maybe 3 wide, and we saw Philip Brewer shoot through the middle for the race lead.
And Jordan Trash just locked it up, trying to stay out of the back bumper, then everybody else trying to avoid. Mark McFadden gets rear-ended, sends the back end airborne. The 75, also a little bit of damage there for Logan Watern. All started there with the 79, Jeff. I have to say, I think that's the first caution that I've seen for a road blocking incident here at SNR.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen too often, but you could definitely see that the 79 was, when he came back up the track, he was pretty much stopped on the racetrack, blocking the track. So definitely understand the call there by race control to go ahead and throw the yellow. But I was wondering if maybe we could catch a replay of the onboard of Philip Brewer splitting it 3 wide for the lead there. That was incredible. And heads up driving to everybody, though, there, just to keep that straight. Yeah, let's watch it from this restart. That has to be quite the view from his vantage point. And I know, as somebody who is leading the race here, you know, the first part, he wants to get back to the race lead as soon as possible because he has the pace. But yeah, let's ride on board here and watch Philip Brewer wheel this race car back to the race lead, splitting it 3 wide.
Right here after this first right-hander, he sees the gap open, 3 wide. There it is, and there it goes. Shinosky gets sent 3 wide there by Morgan Cook, Noah Mahalski. But wow, what an absolutely phenomenal move coming out of the 44 of Philip Brewer. He wanted that lead back in a hurry, and it's a good thing that he did with that caution immediately coming out.
Yeah, and I bet you he's got a big sigh of relief right now. I'm also wondering, maybe we can pull him up and talk to him. I mean, I don't know, we don't want to jinx anybody, but I feel like we need to maybe talk to Philip Brewer if he's in the Discord. I don't know if he's in a channel at the moment. He might be in a different channel, so we might not have the opportunity to pull him up. I am looking for him.
We're going to get one more view of this. We'll do it from the blimp cam this time. Keep an eye on that yellow Hellman's 44. Up the hill they go to the right. There's the gap again. And just a perfect drive off for Philip Brewer. That checks up Shinosky and Cook a little bit there on the outside. Then there's the issue with the 79 behind. Man, that is, I really do have to give him some outstanding props for that maneuver. That was a bold one, and it paid off.
Yeah, I think that could be the race-winning move, too. Just because track position is so important here. Morgan Cook, though, was a big winner from that as well. He's going to move up to second. So I think maybe some of the other guys decided to pit here. Belke and Shinosky, I think they elected to pit. So move Morgan Cook up to the second place spot. He's going to be in a good spot. But also, look at Rob Denton right there in the third place. He's in a very good spot as well. Another one of those drivers with a driver cam and sponsor of the RSR Driver Cam for the Cup Series. So we appreciate Rob. And check out this view. This view at a road course. You're going to see him pretty busy here. I want to know if we can leave this up on the restart, Logan. This will be very awesome to see him work through the gears and watch how busy he's going to be in the cockpit as we come around here. To get the one to go, I believe, pace car lights are going to go off. But he's in a pretty good spot as well, and somebody we haven't talked about a whole lot tonight. The 03 of Noah Mahalski finds himself in a restart right behind Cook in row 2. And he's a driver that maybe, you know, doesn't love the road courses, but is usually somebody that can compete and run well here. So move him up to the 4th place spot. This is going to be, I believe, the highest running position he's been today. He started 5th. I think he fell back a little bit on the initial start, but you see some other guys that were really quick fall a little bit further back. Guys like the 20. He's going to, you know, Timothy Peters is going to start 6th here. So he's going to be, this is going to be the deepest that he's been today in this field. But all these drivers up here towards the front, though, very capable road course drivers. And this kind of makes me wonder about the fuel situation now. Now that we've had some pace laps, is it possible that these guys could make it to the end now? Nobody was expecting a caution to come back out after the stage, so this could really shake things up and open the door to a little bit of strategy.
It certainly could, and I like the idea of hanging out with the 93 on board, so we'll get that pulled back up once we get to the hairpin here. And Jeff, I'm thinking even take it a step further, maybe hop on board for a full lap with the 93 and see what it's like. We'll be able to see the battle develop between the 44 and the 51, see if Noah Mahalski has anything to say to Rob Denton about that 3rd place spot. Let's get right to it. Pace car back off track. Let's hop in board with the 93 on this restart here. Green flag is out and away we go. You see the light flashing on that RSR driver cam. That's one thing I've talked to Rob about before. I don't know how he does it, how he can stay focused with all that extra going on around him. But wide out here, and Philip Brewer gets turned sideways there. We're going to bail on this, actually, and go take a look at what happened here to the 44. And it's another track blocker, Jeff. We got another caution on track.
Yeah, and it's a parking lot, too, and our race leader is involved, Philip Brewer. We are riding on board with Rob Denton, so it was kind of hard to see exactly what happened to the 44 here. But something getting up the hill there into the turn 2 section. Something happened there, but obviously a lot going on. And I'm sure a very upset Philip Brewer after having the race lead right here in his hands. And then we'll have to see what ensued to actually get him spun around. I don't know if these two cars made contact or not.
It was so close and hard to tell from the in-car camera. It looks like maybe a little bit of contact there from Cook. Then just sideways. That's going to stack everybody up once more. Timothy Peters involved into the 18 of Rob Hamp in it. And it's, yeah, just a parking lot on the outside there. Peters maybe trying to get the car fired back up. Let's take it back again here and take a look from the blimp camera. Here's all the commotion just ahead. We were trying to get out of the way. Rob Hamp gets around, just unfortunately collects the 20. We've got a couple more drivers there. Looks like Jeremy Reed also involved. Ben Laughter involved. Matt Dominique further behind the pack, so he didn't get tied up in it. A couple of these drivers got lucky there. It's kind of an oddity here.
It really was a lot going on right there, and a lot happened right in front of the 93 of Rob Denton. I'm wondering if maybe we can get him up here in the booth under the caution flag here and maybe get some input from his point of view.
Absolutely. Let's do it, Jeff. Let's find Rob Denton down here.
Rob Denton.
Oh, where? Did you find him?
You
Yes.
got a copy?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Rob. Well, looks like there's quite a bit going on in front of you. We were actually just riding on board with you on that restart. We saw the leaders get tangled up just a little bit. What all happened on that restart from your vantage point?
Everything seemed all right coming into turn one, but then just taking up that right-hander, it looked like Cook and Brewer just kind of got into each other and turned him. So, I was happy to take an extra spot, but I wasn't so happy when the caution came out, because in my rearview mirror, it looked like a pretty big wreck.
Yeah, and I bet, seeing that big wreck in your mirror, you probably thought that you're going to be able to check out and not have to worry about anybody behind you the rest of the night. But
it looked like a good idea to me. So, but yeah, a bit unfortunate. But I personally, I'm not a big fan of this track. So, to be up here is kind of nice. I didn't qualify that great, but it's good to be up here on a road course. Something I feel a bit more comfortable with.
Yeah, and you're certainly doing a great job. Obviously, you find yourself in the first place position now after those leaders got tangled up. A couple people wondering, though, on the chat, we're wondering, why is the gear shift on that side of the race car, Rob?
See, on the opposite end of the world, we sit on the other side of the car. So I'm not in America, I'm in Australia.
There it is. So I guess that answers that question, Logan. I guess before we move you back down, Rob, and let you get back to racing, anybody on the team or anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
I just want to give a shout out to Kyle Peacock. He's had to take a step back for a little while. We kind of miss racing with him. I know me and the Neon guys, Max, Noah, Caleb, we miss driving with him. So hopefully he comes back soon. And I'm pretty sure Mum and Dad are watching. They've been watching every race lately, so I just want to say a shout out to them.
All right, Rob. Well, that 93 looks pretty good out front, and as always, we appreciate the inside view of your cockpit with the driver cam and everything you've done for us sponsorship-wise. Best of luck the rest of the way. See if you can keep that 57 behind you.
Yep, let's see how we go. Thanks very much.
So that was Rob Denton, 93 car here in that WeatherTech scheme. Finds himself here leading the race at Sonoma Raceway after the leaders kind of got tangled up. But a really good opportunity for him now, Logan, is he is the control car. I know he didn't want to see that caution fly out. He probably thought he was going to run away with this one with no pressure from behind, but a very capable race car driver, especially on the road courses. He says he's not a huge fan of this racetrack, but so far he's doing pretty good.
Yeah, indeed he is, finding himself up there in that first starting spot. But Dakota Floyd finds himself back up here in the hunt for a win. If he can keep it up at the front with Rob Denton, challenge for that position as the race goes on. Keep an eye there on the 57. Anybody else here throughout the field that you might think we should keep a note of? You know that Bradley Cooper's now found his way up into the 4th position, so highest running spot for the 2 now.
Yeah, I mean, Bradley, really both drivers in that row. Caleb Weekly, Bradley Cooper, both drivers that started 10th on back. Now with all, the strategy and some of the incidents that happened in front of them, they're in a really good spot as well. And obviously these guys have good speed on the road courses too. It's just they didn't get the qualifying draw that they wanted. So I feel like these guys probably were wishing they could do qualifying over to get a better starting spot. But now with where we're at, I mean, you're in row number 2, just behind the leader here. I think these are guys that we're going to have to look out for now, both Caleb and Bradley, because I know that they are pretty good at the road courses, and they have some experience here. They've been here. I know Caleb's been here seasons past, season 1 of the Cup Series, and obviously Bradley was really looking forward to this race as well. So, yeah, I don't think we can count either one of those drivers out.
All it takes is one little tiny slip up. That's all some of these drivers need. Pace car pulls off coming into the hairpin here. The 93 of Rob Denton will lead us to the green flag for the 3rd time tonight. Dakota Floyd will start to the outside. Caleb Weekly behind Denton. Bradley Cooper behind Floyd. Green flag in the air waiting to be dropped. Coming around that last corner. And we're back under green flag conditions. Let's see how long it will last this time. And a big jump for Dakota Floyd on the outside. Gets loose next to Denton. Still side by side up into the hill. A little bit of commotion behind. I hear cars clanging and clattering around back there. But we remain green on the course, so it looks good so far. Side by side goes Locklear to Shoemaker. Locklear up to 6th now. 74 Brian Hennings also follows suit. Bryce Shoemaker falls back 2 positions on the restart. Ooh, nearly contact with the wall right behind for the 24 Belke.
Yeah, and one of those drivers that initially stayed out under the first stage caution, trying to get some track position, didn't really end up working out. He finds himself kind of middle of the pack now, as last week's race winner, Matt Dominique, was side by side there for a little bit. They get it sorted out. Philip Brewer, the big loser out of all this, was leading the race. Obviously, probably the fastest guy in the field up until that point. Him and Dakota Floyd were really trading lap time.
Contact behind
McFadden and
Eldon
big
Stewart.
hit.
Oh, goodness.
Wow, that's killer for that car. Mark's got a decent amount of damage, but yeah, that's race ending for Eldon Stewart. I have to see what happened there.
You could hear the engine expire. Oh, and a lockup for Chris Root on the outside. And here's some more sideways cars. Looks like Judson Curtis, Greg Spiker, contact for Ben Laughter here. Spiker still facing the wrong direction out of the hairpin. Finally gets it started to turn around. Jeff, we got a lot to unpack here. Let's go back quite a ways.
Yeah, we certainly do. First I saw was Mark McFadden and the 4 kind of get together. Obviously, Eldon Stewart, the 4, got the worst of it, went head on into the tire barriers. McFadden's got some significant damage, but I think he'll be able to continue on. But man, these restarts are just crazy, and I mean, if we keep getting these restarts, I don't see it calming down any bit.
Here's all the bumping and banging that I was hearing coming up the hill. Mark McFadden in the 5, he got rear-ended from Morgan Cook just slightly coming up the hill, then checks up even more. That got Eldon Stewart involved the first time. And then it's once we get to the S's here, which is about a half track away. Hang out here, keep an eye on the 4 and the 5. Slow into that 90-degree right-hander. 75 goes wide there. And eventually we'll get to this action. All right. Start of the S's. They've got some space between them, battling with Max Koss there. Koss sends it through the grass. So he gets in between the 2. Stewart gets a good run. Now it's got Trask and the 79 behind, and just a little bit of net code there, it looked like, and then assistance from behind with the 79. There goes that engine there, and then back up towards the front here on the outside, or on the exit rather, of the hairpin. Greg Spiker was sideways. Oh, it's the 51 of Morgan Cook and Judson Curtis that started it. Then Curtis collected Spiker. Here comes Ben Laughter with that extra touch. Man, there's a whole lot that went down there. Get back to the live shot, though.
Yeah, it certainly was, and a lot of big losers out of that. Some guys that were running up front, you know, some guys like Morgan Cook, you saw the 51 was back there. Obviously, Philip Brewer finds himself back there from another incident. These are 2 really fast guys. You see the damage on the front end of the 51, and overheating is always a concern when you get a little bit of damage to the nose at Sonoma, so he'll probably have to keep an eye on that. Expect this 44, though, to continue to climb back up through the field. He was really quick, but, man, the big winner out of all of this the 57 of Dakota Floyd, he got such a great restart alongside Rob Denton that he was pretty much able to stay side by side with him, and then eventually clearing him off of the corner. I believe right here is where he actually ended up clearing him. But right now, Rob Denton hanging on to second, so not a bad job by him. Caleb Weekly just behind in third. Bradley Cooper runs fourth, and Justin Carey, how about that, up into the top 5.
So good run for the 21 on the recovery effort. Started out 7th, now finds himself in the top 5. Our biggest mover so far is going to be the 19 of Michael Muncy, who has continued to work his way up through the field. Now looking for another position on the 74 of Brian Hennings. Side by side, almost through the S's. They'll finally slide in line. A lot safer play, but the 74 of Hennings sends it through the dirt. Can he recover it and keep it off the door of the 19? Austin Belkey also in a position to take away this spot. Hennings holding on to it. Belkey to the inside here will have the advantage in the hairpin. Hennings loose. And side by side, nobody locks up the brakes, but Belkey's going to come away with the position, holding it nice and tight to the curbing through the hairpin.
Yeah, Hennings got some damage to the front end of his race car as well, so I'm sure that's affecting him aero-wise. But now it's starting to get a little bit spread out here towards, you know, the front, I guess. From first all the way back to 10th, you see Philip Brewer just cracking the top 10 again. He is 12 seconds behind race leader Dakota Floyd right now. So unless we have some sort of, you know, blocked track again that results in a caution, it's just not going to be enough ground for Philip Brewer to make up. That's 12 seconds. That is a long time around this racetrack. So Dakota Floyd, I'm sure he's feeling like he's in a really good spot here. Pretty much at this point, he's just got to hit his marks, not make any mistakes. And with the 2 cautions that we had, I would think that we can probably go to the end here. I don't think we're going to have to pit for fuel. If we do, you're going to see guys splitting that segment in half. So we went green, you know, right around a little after lap 10. So you probably see people pitting with about the 15 to go mark. So maybe right around lap 30. But I would assume that 2 cautions, that's probably enough to save the fuel needed. So probably throw green flag pit stops out of the equation now. It's just going to be a matter of who can run the best lap time, stay on the racetrack, and not make any mistakes.
Ooh, as Michael Muncy does get loose on the exit of the hairpin that time. So he loses that position now to Belkey. Belkey looking to insert the 24 up to the top 5, sitting in 7th right now, but he's got some distance before he sees that 6th place of Jacob Locklear, 3.5 seconds up the road, and about another second to Justin Carey if he wants to see the top 5 position. Bradley Cooper sits in 4th still. He can keep that 2-car consistent. He'll be surely happy with a good top 5 finish on the night. See how the remaining 20 laps go.
Yeah, Bradley Cooper, I'm sure, is super pleased right now with the way his race is going. The races that he has competed in, he's had some bad luck, and I don't see any too bad of damage on his car. I think he was involved in some of those stack ups there, so maybe a little bit, but I mean, the other races he competed in, he got some race ending damage. And tonight, so far, so good. He is up in the top 5 seconds behind the leader, but I'm sure if he can bring this thing home inside the top 5, he would be pleased with that result.
One person he's going to have to look out for, it's the 44 of Philip Brewer, who sends it deep into the braking zone. Makes his way around, and he collects another position. Brewer already back into the top 10 after seeing him all the way at the back of the field. Look at all the damage on the right rear.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough handling car, and that is going to take away a lot of that rear downforce, which you need at a track like this just to be able to get the power down coming out of the corners. So the front of the car doesn't look too bad, but sometimes people forget how important the rear of the car is just to have that downforce. And you can see he's kind of sliding out of these corners, but there's no doubt right now that he is wheeling that race car and still trying to get the most out of it.
That is one driver cam I wish I had right now just to see how tough it is, but we can still hop in board, see what the inputs look like here in game, or in sim rather. We were coming through the S's here. keeps it high in the RPMs. Sounds like second gear to me. There's the shift to third. And he'll hit fourth right as he starts this right-hander. Well, a little bit earlier than I would expect. Keeps that wheel speed a little bit lower, though. Smart move to try to save these tires. Then it's all about getting down in the RPMs here without getting any sort of tire chatter. Still getting loose there on the rear end. So there's about a quarter of a lap on board with the 44. Sounded like contact with the wall behind. That's the 18 of Rob Hamp. He's sideways out of the hairpin. Let's take it back real quick and see what happened to him.
Yeah, I saw Hamp involved, and also 51 Morgan Cook, which I think disconnected. So the 74 and the 18 both kind of overshoot the corner and come back down. And man, you can't get more unlucky than that for the 51. That is tough. I mean, he was just kind of minding his own business, sending it off into the corner, and that type of contact didn't look, like a ton, but I mean, it just sent his car to the outside. It really killed it. I think he was blown up after that.
Yeah, that was a instant engine expiring maneuver. That is a rapid, unscheduled disassembly. Back up here with the 18. Saw him take advantage now of the 54 into the 13th position coming into the S's. And our top 5 is spread out quite a bit, Jeff. Dakota Floyd leads by over 2.5 seconds to Rob Denton. Denton almost 2 seconds ahead of Weekly. Weekly is 3 seconds ahead of Bradley Cooper. So
yeah, I'm really impressed with the run with all these guys up here towards the front right now. Obviously, Dakota Floyd's been able to stay out of trouble, and we saw how much speed he had in that first stint. And he stretched it out now to a 2.5 second lead, but Rob Denton still keeping them within reach. Caleb Weekly hasn't fallen that far off. A little bit further back is Bradley Cooper being 7 seconds. But really, this top 3 right now, I'm really impressed with what they've been able to do. And I'm really impressed with this guy right here, too, the 24 of Austin Belkey. He's really showing that he knows what it takes to get around these road courses. So even at Canada last week in the Cup Series, he had a really good race. I mean, we had 40-plus cars out there, and he finished 12th last week at Canada. So obviously knows how to get around the road courses. Philip Brewer just behind him right there. He finished 11th at Canada in the SNR Cup Series last week and was obviously leading this race up until some of the cautions and some of the incidents. Got into it with the 51, I believe, of Cook, and went around. So not the night that those guys were probably wanting. I know Philip Brewer feels like he was maybe going to be the one to beat tonight and have that win in the bag. But sometimes things just don't go your way, and unfortunately, he's having that happen to him tonight.
Back a little bit further in the pack is our closest battle on the track between Bryce Shoemaker and Jordan Trask for the 16th position on the field. Nobody else really in sight. It is 12 seconds back to Brandon Wallace behind Jordan Trask and 5.5 seconds ahead for Bryce Shoemaker to get to Ben Lafter. So 2 cars out here all alone, just battling lap after lap. And it looks like issues further back for the 20 once more. He is not facing the correct way on the racetrack. Take a look at what happened here to Timothy Peters. He's not having a good night.
No, he's not. And he was another one of those drivers that showed a lot of speed early and gets into it with the 25 there of Matt Dominique. So gets spun around, but gets it back going. He's going to lose a handful of spots out of it. And obviously he had severe damage early too. So I'm sure that car is not handling great. And yeah, these cars just come together, gets spun around. There's been no shortage of action, I guess I'll say, Logan, on the racetrack tonight at Sonoma Raceway. Typically, we see races at Sonoma kind of get strung out and cars kind of get away from each other. But man, there has been battles all around this racetrack, and not only battles, but we've seen a lot of cars making a lot of contact and a lot of damaged race cars, I will say, out here tonight, and starting to become a race of attrition.
Yeah, that's one way to call it for sure. As Michael Muncy gets loose again out of the hairpin, struggling to find the grip on the exit. Oh, Mahalski was able to get around the 31 of Matt Shanowski. He's so close to a top 10 finish here. The 03. He's got a little bit of a ways to go just ahead. Michael Muncy with issues again, still trying to find some sort of traction on the track. He loses that 9th position to the 74 Brian Hennings, and Noah Mahalski is closing in fast.
Yeah, Brian Hennings, one of those drivers that's been involved in a few incidents, and started 15th. He's up to 10th. Got some damage on the race car, but that is not preventing him from getting the absolute most out of the race car. So he overshoots the corner a little bit there, just as I say that, which I'm sure is going to be a little bit of a result from the heavy damage. But you can tell he is giving it his absolute all out there with what he's got. Matt Shanowski right there in the 31, just behind. He started 18th tonight, and he's up to 12th. So Matt Shanowski up a few spots, and he was in a pretty good position last week at Talladega up until some of the closing laps. He ended up getting spun towards the inside wall. So I know he's kind of had an up and down few weeks and was probably looking to have a good run this week. And so far he's up a few spots and looks like a couple more spots just in front of him here, in there that he could probably go out and get.
Let's take a look again at our previous race leader, the 44, Philip Brewer, still trying to fight his way back up. He has found himself caught up to the 6th and 5th place cars. That's Jacob Locklear right ahead. Justin Carey also in sight here. So a top 5 finish not out of the realm whatsoever for Philip Brewer. And a great recovering effort coming out of the 44. And he definitely came into this race with a lot of preparation put down on this track if he's coming out here and driving through the entire field.
Yeah, and he's obviously a talented road course driver too, like we mentioned. So anytime we go to the road courses, we know this 44 is going to be a threat. And even despite some of the damage he's got on the race car, he is still picking these drivers off one by one. I would not be surprised at all to see him get this car up into the top 5. He's taking over the 5th spot right now as we speak.
Already on it.
Realistically, he could get back up to 2nd before this race is over. I think that Dakota Floyd's probably a little too far for him to catch in, although he has been reeling him in a little bit. He was, last time I looked, around 12.5 seconds. He's now down to under 10.5 seconds, so he is gaining a little bit of ground on the 57, but I just think that is too much ground to ask for with the amount of laps that are remaining. And he's got some damage to the rear of the car, which never helps. So I think that's probably out of the question. But, man, if he keeps putting together these lap times, I could actually see him get up to 2nd place.
Right now, 2nd place on the mind, but he's got to go through the 2-car Bradley Cooper, and he's closing that gap quickly right at the 1 second mark here. We'll see how close he is once we get back to the hairpin. I'd say I would be shocked if the 44 isn't making a challenge for that spot. As there goes the 5 of Mark McFadden getting out of the way of the lead lap cars. 44 of Philip Brewer just on a tear right now, driving like he's on a mission.
Absolutely, and I'm sure he's not happy either. After being spun out of the lead, that I'm sure will get you fuming, but, he's basically, to be quick here, you still got to have your composure, right, and continue to hit your mark. So big props to Philip tonight for staying with it, sticking with this race, and using that, beat up, war-torn race car, I guess I'll say, in a way, with the rear end pushed in. It's not fun to drive a car like that with rear damage at, a regular oval, let alone a road course where you need a lot of downforce in the rear of the car. So that just shows you how strong Philip Brewer was tonight, and he's probably just, he's really bummed tonight that he's not going to be able to compete for this win, but he's still trying to compete for that podium.
Podium in sight all over the back bumper now of Bradley Cooper, coming down into the tight right-hander. Catches quite a bit of the curb there. Looks to the inside now, locks him up. Oh, gets a little bit sideways. Cooper's going to let him go. Plays it safe. He's thinking about that finishing position on the week. Philip Brewer continues to drive through as he's on a beeline now for the 13 of Caleb Weekly. We'll circle back to this in a few minutes. Take note, 3.5 seconds right now separating 3rd and 4th place. Back further back in the pack is the 64 of Ben Laughter battling with the 63 of Max Koss. Laughter with the advantage coming down the S's. Just ahead of them, it's a battle between Hamp and Hennings once more. Side by side, the last corner here. Henning goes wide. Oh, somehow able to collect it back up. That back end didn't spin around. Hamp sends it on the inside here, the hairpin. Hennings a little bit of a bump to the inside. Nothing doing though. We've seen that one not work once or twice already. That time it did just fine.
Yeah, they'll keep it straight, but tough battling going on here at Sonoma Raceway. This has been really fun to watch, and this is the first time I've been able to be up in a booth and call a road course with anybody, Logan. So this has been a lot of fun and definitely a different perspective. I feel like, you know, after watching this, man, I want to do this more often, just see all the different battles, you know, you have here at a road course. It's just been super entertaining. Hopefully everybody watching that's tuned in right now is enjoying the race. And yeah, there's been no shortage of action anywhere around the racetrack tonight, that's for sure.
It's kind of one of those places that, you know, this seems to be a perfect fit for you, Jeff. I know you have a lot of success here throughout multiple leagues, specifically with this combination of car, the Xfinity. Oh, contact right behind. Brian Hennings got into Michael Muncie. Hennings back through the dirt here. Contact once more. That's going to send them both sideways. Hennings facing the wrong way. Michael Muncie. Oh, that's not what you want to see for the 19 after driving so hard to get up to this spot. Looks like the 74 of Hennings going to be the good sportsman that we know him to be, giving Michael Muncie that position after the contact made. It's a good way of saying sorry without saying sorry.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, both those guys, I mean, they're just trying to get all they can, and obviously some beat up race cars too. They're not handling the best, but now at this point, you're just trying to limp it across the finish line. And I know this has probably been a race that some people have not been looking forward to, and others have been looking forward to. You know, guys like Philip Brewer, obviously very quick, very comfortable here. Dakota Floyd, same thing. But, you know, a lot of other guys, you know, tonight have, you know, shown a lot of promise and a lot of speed. You know, 93 of Rob Denton running up inside, you know, the top two. He's in second right now. So great run for Rob. Caleb Weekly, you know, a lot of people might not think of him as a road course driver, more so the short track guy. We always see him really strong at short tracks like Bristol, Martinsville. And you can kind of take some similarities, you know, between Sonoma and some short tracks. There's a lot of heavy braking zones here as Philip Brewer is now on the charge. I feel like this one's going to be tough to hold off for Caleb just because of the speed of the 44 is shown. But big props to Caleb Weekly tonight, kind of showing that maybe his, you know, showing off some of his talents that not a lot of everybody sees, you know, that he can really drive road courses and be quick here. So good job to Caleb Weekly tonight. And I know he's doing everything he can to try to hold off that 44 here and try to get the podium tonight. It's going to be a tall task, though. That 44 has been quick all night, and especially on the road courses.
We are within 10 laps to go now, so it's now or never for Philip Brewer. And same shoes for Caleb Weekly. Now or never to keep the 44 behind. Sends it wide through that corner there. Turn number 6 can be a tricky one if you catch too much curbing. And Caleb Weekly plays it safe, nice and tight on the curbing through turn 7. See how he handles the S's. We saw the 13 very strong when he was attacking the 2. Philip Brewer loose behind. Collects it back up, though, but he's going to lose that ground. I do just want to recap on this one, Jeff. Remember whenever I said he was 3.5 seconds back from third place? That was 2 laps ago.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The closure rate of the 44 back through the field has been something of legend.
Yeah, it's just really showing the strength of his ability to wheel this race car around Sonoma Raceway tonight. And despite the damage, I mean, we keep mentioning the damage on the back of his race car. And, you know, although you're watching it here on TV doesn't look like a lot, you know, I can tell you firsthand, damage on the back of the race car, especially the Xfinity car, is not fun. That car is got to be really, really tough for him to drive right now. And you're seeing him slipping and sliding, but he is giving it his all. Meanwhile, Dakota Floyd is checked out, and he is just hitting his laps, hitting his marks lap after lap. and he is looking forward to grabbing that white flag, because then you know it's over. No cautions can come out at that point. And so far, no real pressure right now behind. Got quite the cushion back to second with Rob Denton.
Hovering around that 3.5 to 3.25 seconds to second place for Dakota Floyd. Looking great right now. I would have to say, majority of this field being as spread out as they are, he has to be happy coming to these closing laps, ready to get over with this race, get through that winner's interview, barring anything crazy happening for Dakota Floyd. Running a great race so far tonight. 20 laps led out of our 38 now complete at the line. 21 laps led for the 57 after starting in second place.
Yeah, just done an absolute great job. He's going to go past the 9 there of Tad Dabney. It's a little bit off the pace and off the track, but 2 weeks ago, Dakota Floyd got his very first win in the Challenger Series at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And now, look at him here at a road course. He's going to score his second career victory. If nothing happens, don't want to jinx anybody here, Logan, but if all goes well, which looks like I don't see anybody catching this 57, but still, anything could happen, but it looks like he is well on his way to his second career SNR Challenger Series victory. And just after 2 weeks ago when he got his very first one, so it's not going to be long, and Dakota Floyd will be back in victory lane.
I will say it looked like the 93 of Denton was finding some pace to catch up. That 3.5 second gap went to 2.8 momentarily. Now back over the 3 second line, but we might have enough if Rob Denton can keep the rear end under the car. We might have a chance here, especially with Dakota Floyd coming up on some of the lap traffic here. He's going to get around the 25 with ease as he takes it wide through the hairpin, leaving plenty of room for our race leader. He's going to have some more challenges up the road here as we're at 6 to go.
Yeah, you see Matt Dominique there just behind a lap down, our winner from Talladega last week in the SNR Challenger Series, and not exactly, I guess, the race that he wanted tonight following his race win last week. Would like to be a little bit better, but caught up in some things. This race got really chaotic through the middle stages of it, and I think, we had probably more than half the field get some sort of incident, some sort of damage. So I know a lot of these guys were wishing things were going a little bit smoother, but at this point in the race, everybody, I feel like, is just trying to limp this thing back to the start-finish line. The tires have got to be shot, and you're right. Let's not count out the 93 just yet. He just shaved off half a second into Dakota Floyd's lead. So that 93 is charging, and he's getting a little bit bigger in the mirror here of the 57.
Meanwhile, we did miss it, but Philip Brewer was able to get around the 13 of Weekly last lap by. So Brewer back into a podium position. Does he have enough time to close this 8-second gap to the leader? First and foremost, he has the 93 to go through, who's 5.5 seconds ahead with only 5 laps to go at the line. That is a tall task, even for somebody who definitely deserves to be at the front of this race.
And Caleb Weekly trying to get the power down. That's just showing how shot these rear tires are for all of these guys. And I think you're seeing that a little bit on the 57 too of Dakota Floyd. I think his rear tires are maybe going away a little bit. I've been seeing him slip and slide just a little bit more each lap. Rob Denton looks like he's taking care of his stuff pretty good, though. I mean, I still don't think we're going to have enough time for him to be able to run him down. I just feel like 5 laps is not enough time, but Rob is certainly showing his long run strength tonight. Just, his consistency, being smooth, hitting his corners, hitting his marks. This 93 has really put together a great race tonight. And, don't count him out just yet. I mean, we just get 2 seconds there. I mean, I keep saying that 5 laps, maybe not enough time, but this 93 is putting down some really good lap times right now.
If he keeps collecting a half second each time by, he is golden. Last time by, he was a half second better than Floyd. We'll see what they do this time. Is Denton now under that 2 second area? Be careful in the braking zone. 93. He does it perfectly here. Oh, the 88 nearly in the way. Nothing doing there. 1.5 seconds. This time by Dakota Floyd with a 24.321. Rob Denton a full second faster with a 123.378 coming out of the second place car. So that gap has an opportunity with 4 to go. If he can keep putting down laps like that, there is no doubt in my mind that Rob Denton could challenge for the race win tonight.
Yeah, and now that there's no lap cars in between them either, he's got his eyes set directly ahead on the race leader, Dakota Floyd. And Dakota's struggling a little bit here. You can see him having a little bit of trouble getting out of the corners, kind of the rear end stepping out. So maybe we spoke too soon when I said this race was over yet. This chat is getting pretty lively here on the stream. So looks like people are thinking that Rob Denton might have what it takes to get up there and maybe get this race win. As you can see him off in the distance there. We're going to get the 3 to go this time by, and Rob's going to have to put together some near perfect laps, I think, if he's going to have any shot at catching him. But if Dakota makes any mistake in any part of this racetrack, he could be right there ready to capitalize.
And he could. That gap has climbed back up to that 2.5 second mark. 93 struggling now to find the grip, maybe pushing the tires a little bit too hard there to close that gap as well as he did. 3 to go across the line. The race nearly complete. 45 laps on the night. It's been a show from start to finish. Battles all throughout the field. Again, Caleb Weekly is caught back up now to Philip Brewer. Weekly would like that podium position back, certainly. Philip Brewer, after driving through the entire field, will look to try to capture that. Bradley Cooper laying in wait for either one of these drivers to make a mistake, but consistency has been perfect for a lot of these drivers tonight. Let's see if anybody has anything to say. Lots of gaps throughout the rest of the field here. This one right here being the closest battle on the track.
And as all this was going on, Matt Shanoski just cracked the top 10, and that was a driver that we talked about. Started a little bit further back in the field in 18th. Got caught up in a couple of incidents, but I mean, he is now inside the top 10. So great run for Matt Shanoski there in the 31. Jacob Locklear inside the top 10 in that 84, and Noah Mahalski is working on Justin Carey here, trying to find a way, maybe going to try to dive bomb down into turn 11. He's looking, he's going to send it in, maybe outbrake him, try to keep it really tight to the curves. That's going to be a better corner here for Mahalski. He is going to get the position, so go ahead and move Noah Mahalski up a spot, but the 21 is not going to give up just yet. You might have another shot with him as they go up the hill, but good executed pass into turn 11 by Noah Mahalski. That's textbook right there. That is how you complete a pass in turn 11. Get the run off of turn 10, send it on down in 11, hug those curbs tightly, and get a good exit off the corner. And he did just that.
Right ahead of Mahalski. 6 seconds up the road here. Austin Belke is caught up to the 2 of Cooper. We're at 2 to go, and Belke sends it in deep here in turn 7. Cooper keeps it on the outside, wants nothing to do with any sort of contact, but he's going to get a drive now through the S's. Let's see how Cooper can hang on to it. We'll hop on board here. And playing it safe, it looks like, for the 2 car. He's up 4 positions on the night, so he's got to be happy with the effort regardless of how this one finishes out here with Belke. Looks like he'll be content here. Maybe a send to the inside of the hairpin. He's going to at the rear bumper. Does he do what Mahalski did? Can he get the drive off that the 03 just had side by side? No, Belke's going to get the advantage across the line. Just ahead, Weekly and Brewer have both fallen back to Belke and Cooper. It's going to be a 4-horse race here on the final lap. Dakota Floyd nowhere in sight. Philip Brewer, Caleb Weekly, Austin Belke, Bradley Cooper are all going to be battling for the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th position.
I was going to say Dakota Floyd had some lap traffic he had to get through. It did slow him down just a bit. He does get around them all now, so I think now Dakota's going to be good sailing here. He gets around, I believe, the 54, Bryce Shoemaker there. So he's going to be on through. But yeah, still a lot of action happening back here for inside the top 5.
Oh, Weekly almost into the back bumper of the 44. That would not have made Philip Brewer happy seeing that happen again. Brewer's going to get the advantage down through the S as Caleb Weekly under fire from Austin Belke behind. Bradley Cooper finding a little bit of momentum, see if it'll do anything for him as they come down to the hairpin. Dakota Floyd, nobody here to challenge the 54 behind, sideways, blocking some of the lap traffic. But it's going to be Dakota Floyd taking home his second win of the SNR Challenger Series, and he's going to do it in a road course in Sonoma, California.
Yeah, just well executed race here for Dakota Floyd. He was a quick race car, that's for sure. Had some of his toughest competition, got into some trouble, made it a little bit easier on him. But big props to Rob Denton too in that 93.
There's 3 wide across the line here between Belke, Cooper, and Locklear.
Yeah, that was something.
Locklear got the advantage there. Belke falls back to 8th. Bradley Cooper claims 7th. That was an intense battle right there at the very end. Not one that I saw coming with Locklear from behind.
Yeah, kind of came out of nowhere.
Let's take it back here. That was a lot more intense than I thought it was going to be. Let's take a look at the 2. Something had to have happened. There's a lot of room there. Bradley Cooper locks it up into the hairpin there, gets both of them sideways. And it's just a matter of who can get going first. Belke, he cuts it through there. It's going to be side by side between those two. Then Locklear from behind. I don't know what's going on between these two, but he just shoots the gap in the middle and gets them both.
Man, I think what happened there is I think Bradley and Belke probably had a slowdown penalty. Belke, I think for sure, because he had to cut through the track there to get back on the racetrack. So I think he had to give up some time. Maybe same thing with Bradley Cooper, but either way, they left just enough room up the middle for Locklear to shoot through it and get himself a few spots. So move Jacob Locklear up to 6th tonight. Unfortunate though for Cooper and Belke, they're going to drop a few spots out of that.
Keep an eye on those post-race reports, but looks like Dakota Floyd not electing to take any sort of a victory celebration. Rob Denton coming home in 2nd, making his way back around the track. But we're going to take a quick commercial break, then we'll be right back with our post-race interviews and our final results here for the SNR Challenger Series at Sonoma. Stick around, we'll be right back in a few minutes.
What's up, everyone? I am Joshua Banks, driver of the number 35 Matco Tool Supra.
Comes back, he's gonna send it to the inside. They're 3 wide for the race lead. They're gonna Joshua Banks is gonna win it. Unbelievable.
And also co-owner of M&J Distributors, for the sponsor of Saturday Night Racing. So I just want to thank every single one of you for tuning into tonight's race. I hope you will put on a good show for you guys. I hope that you will enjoy it. So if you do, make sure you drop a thumbs up to B-Speed and subscribe to them, because they, as y'all know, if you haven't already, they put on some great broadcasts. So I'll make this short and sweet. The main reason for sponsoring Saturday Night Racing League is because I've been with these guys for a long time. I've raced with a lot of them. I've been through some rough times, some good times, and arguments and everything like that. But still, grand scheme of things, been through a lot of these guys, and I really do like where this league's going. I want to support it. They've given a lot to the league already, and I think, you know, I'm capable to support back. So that's what we're doing, and we want to keep this league free, you know, for people to join, to have a good time, come in and race and just have fun, you know, and that's what we're all about. So that's the main reason, and that's all I really have to say about it. So I hope you do enjoy the race, enjoy the season coming up. We are hopefully going to put on a great season for you guys. Also, make sure to check out my YouTube channel, Banksy the iRacer. Link will be in the description. Check out, and you can see my point of view, see what's happening on my end. If you want to watch it, it's completely fine. If not, no big deal. So come on over, hang out after the broadcast of this race, and hopefully we'll see you over there. If not, enjoy it, and I'll see you guys on track.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walk In and Roll in Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walk In and Roll in Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
And we're back live from Sonoma, California for our SNR Challenger Series post-race show, for lack of better terms. We get right into our results here as we saw Dakota Floyd taking home the win on the night. 6 lead changes up here going on between quite a few drivers. Floyd, we had Brewer up in the mix. A couple other drivers up there as well through those pit cycles. 3 cautions on the night. We were scheduled to only have the one. But drivers felt that wasn't enough for the night. Rob Denton comes in second here with the 93 machine. Philip Brewer in third after driving back through the field. Caleb Leakley tried his best to hold off the 44 until the very end, but just could not keep the 13 ahead. Noah Mahalski in the 03 will come up in the 5th position. Jacob Locklear with that late race 3-wide move across the start-finish line between Bradley Cooper and Austin Belkey, falling 7th and 8th. Justin Carey in the 21 will finish out here in 9th. Last but not least in our top 10 will be Matt Shanoski.
In the 11th spot, it's Ben Laughter. Got into an incident early, but able to claw back to 11th. So good rebound for him. Rob Hamp had an eventful day. He gets 12th tonight. Max Cost all the way from 26th. What a drive for Max into the 13th spot. Jordan Trask gets 14th tonight. Michael Muncy, 15th. Timothy Peters, another one of those front runners that got into a little bit of trouble on some of those restarts. Gets a damaged race car, falls back to 16th. Brian Hennings, he had a big up and down day. He gets 17th tonight. 18th, Brandon Wallace. Judson Curtis, 19th. And Bryce Shoemaker brings it home in the top 20.
Lastly, in our field, we have Keith Shoemaker in the 88 taking home the 21st position, followed up with the 25 of Matt Dominique. Jeremy Reed in the 94 gets the 23rd position. The 5 of Mark McFadden gets 24th. Chris Rude in the 32 gets 25th, followed up by Greg Spiker. Tad Dabney in the 9 machine gets 27th. Logan Watern behind that in the 75. Morgan Cook, 3rd place on the starting grid, falls all the way back to 29th after issues through the course. Eldon Stewart takes home the 30th position for the 4 team. 2 more cars to go here. That's just going to be Stephen Davis in the 60 machine and Benjamin Richards taking up the last spot, unable to finish the race for those 2 drivers. Man, that was quite the field. It's been a while since we've seen that many on a road course here on a Saturday night, Jeff, but it was a fun one to watch. We've got interviews now with our top 3 to get right into. We're going to start with our 3rd place finisher, Philip Brewer, who we saw up at the front of the field all for that first half of the race, led 9 laps, then had to start in the back after some incidents, but still manages to drive through. Philip, tell me, was it like 20 cars plus that you had to get back through to get up here to 3rd place?
Yeah, I think it was. I think I came from like 25th.
That sounds about right on that. I believe it was the 2nd restart of the night. You got caught up there with Morgan Cook coming up the hill. But Philip Brewer, tell me, what was it like? You know, you started this race up here on the pole. You had a lot of confidence going into this one because of that. and you kind of ran away with it there for the first couple of laps. Then, obviously, the mix-up there. You also went for the undercut, I believe, on the stage caution. What was the thought process behind that? Give me a quick run-through of that kind of lap 7 to lap 15 range.
Well, I knew I wanted to get in there before the stage break so I could come back out and be in front of everybody else that pits during the stage. I kind of figured guys were going to stay out, so I just wanted to be the first guy on fresh tires. And we got going again, and I got at the top of the hill there, and they left the hole open, so I just shot it 3 wide and got up front before the caution came out. So I was feeling pretty good, and Dakota was kind of back in the pack a little bit because he was the one that was, I mean, we were going back and forth on fastest laps all throughout practice, and then it was close between me and him in the qualifying. So I thought I was going to be able to run away with it, and then I just squeezed the crap out of Cook, and I just wrecked myself, and everybody else got involved in it. It was just a stupid, frustrating move.
Well, it is a road course after all, and the first one in the SNR Challenger Series history here in just season 2. It's early to say that, but it is the first, so we're going to say it anyways. Philip Brewer, you had one heck of a drive coming from the back of the pack. Unfortunately, not being able to finish where you started the race out, but a third-place finish nonetheless is nothing to scoff at. Is there anybody you'd like to say thanks to for ending up here on a podium position?
Yeah, I want to say thanks to Ben Laughter and the videos he puts out. They're pretty helpful. I like watching them and seeing what he has to say about the racetrack. And then, you know, thanks to you guys up in the booth. I always enjoy watching them back. And thanks to all the SNR admins.
Well, I think you'll really enjoy this one. A lot of screen time watching you drive back through the field in that 44. So congratulations, Philip Brewer. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. And we'll move right on to second place. That'll be the Aussie, Rob Denton, standing by with Jeff Wright.
Yeah, I'm down here on pit lane with Rob Denton. And Rob, I got to say, just looking at the chat tonight, you were a fan favorite. Everybody was pulling for you to be able to run down Dakota Floyd. What more did you need? It looked like you guys were kind of trading lap times at some parts, and there were some parts where it looked like you were really eating into that lead. Maybe need some more laps, or what more did you need, you think, to maybe get up there and compete for that race win tonight?
G'day, Jeff. Look, I mean, some tires would have been nice. That certainly was a problem for a lot of us towards the end there. Yeah, look, I mean, I guess the biggest problem I felt was just lap traffic, especially towards the end there. Trying to get around lap cars that were really holding me up. I'd always manage to catch them at the most inopportune times, I suppose.
Yeah, it seems like you had an eventful day, though. Starting 9th, that's kind of a treacherous spot to be, right? Right in the middle of it all, I guess, on the initial start. And we saw how crazy those restarts were. How did you manage just to, for one, stay out of the trouble there? I mean, we saw you start. I mean, we rode on board with you, I think, from row number 2, and saw those leaders get together. I mean, when you see that, what is kind of going through your mind, and how do you try to, you know, keep that car on the racetrack? Meanwhile, all this chaos is happening around you.
Look, to be honest, the guys up front were driving pretty clean. It was really nice to see on, on a road circuit. But yeah, I mean, look, when the leaders got into each other, I was just hoping the seas parted and the track cleared itself so I could drive through. Going off track in this thing up and, that spot there, a lot of the weight shifts off the car. So going on the dirt's definitely going to, slide you into that outside wall. So yeah, it was a lot of praying at that point, I suppose.
Well, you had a good finish tonight here. Best finish of your career, actually, here in the SNR Challenger Series. We go out to Kentucky Speedway next week. The old Kentucky, actually. So a rough, worn-out surface. What's it going to be to go out there and maybe try to back up this second-place run out there at a traditional oval? We know you're good at the road courses, but what are you going to need to maybe get up there and do it again on an oval?
Yeah, look, probably a bit of practice. Ovals seem to be a bit of the bane of my existence, and it's the main thing that we run here. But that's why I really like the Challenger Series and the Cup Series, and even SNR itself. Great group of guys to drive with. Made a lot of friends. So it's definitely just going to be a bit of practice and a bit of time, I suppose, just to try and get up there.
Well, Rob, congrats again on a great run tonight and a second place finish. Like I mentioned, you had the chat kind of going wild there towards the end as people saw you kind of running down Dakota. So had a lot of people excited, and I know there was quite a few people pulling for you tonight. But before we let you go, is there anybody that you'd like to give a shout out to?
A big shout out to Saturday Night Racing League for putting this on. Hands down, best league I've ever been on. Great group of guys. Shout out to my 3 kids, Ryder, Lola, and Harvey. They'll get a bit of a kick out of hearing their name on YouTube. And shout out to the guys at Neon and Kyle Peacock. Thanks very much, guys.
All right. Well, we appreciate the kind words, and congrats again on second place finish. We'll maybe talk to you next week.
Yep, hope so.
So that was Rob Denton, 93 car tonight, and he wheels that race car to a second place finish. The guy that he could not quite run down, though, that's a 2-time SNR Challenger Series race winner with Dakota Floyd. Logan Threlkeld is standing by.
You can't forget the fact that he took home the championship in the inaugural season of the SNR Challenger Series with 0 wins in season 1. Comes out here, he's got 2 wins on the board now. 28 laps led. Dakota Floyd, fantastic drive for you. How was it? I mean, you had some moments there where you found yourself a little bit further back in the pack on a couple of those restarts, had some drivers to get around. You made it look easy.
Oh, well, it definitely didn't feel easy, especially at the stage break there when those guys had pulled off to pit right before the stage. I was like, oh, well, maybe I should have pulled in to get that track position, but I ended up coming out like 7th, I think, on the restarts there. And those guys were getting into each other there on the restarts. We had those 2 subsequent yellows, and when Brewer and Morgan got into it, I hated to see that for them because they were both wicked fast. I mean, I just was able to avoid the wrecks there, and then when they had pit, because the fuel window was super close. I mean, it was like I needed to make up another lap and a half. And then those guys peeled off to make sure they had enough fuel. So that put me on the outside of the front row. And I was like, okay, if I can just clear them before the top of the hill, I can just set sail and start building some gap. Unfortunately, that's what happened. And I just was lap after lap, but Denton wasn't letting me go. He was starting to crawl back to me at the end there. But just at the end of the day, it was just keeping the car on the track in one piece.
Yeah, the 93 was able to find some extra pace there, close that gap down to about 2 seconds, then a little bit less than 2 seconds. Then we found you starting to open that gap back up after making some slight adjustments there in the final laps. Now, I'm curious, you said the fuel window was ultra close. Is that why we didn't see any sort of a victory celebration from the 57 tonight?
Yeah, I had like 0.6, I think, when I finished the race, so I just went down to like turn 5 or whatever that is down the hill. Did some donuts over there in that opening and ran right out of fuel. So yeah, it was. And luckily the line I was running naturally, I was short shifting into higher gear, so saving the fuel was pretty natural there towards the end.
Nothing wrong with changing the strategy on the fly. It paid off for you, Dakota Floyd. Now next week we go back to Old Kentucky. Are you going to be able to make it number 3 on the SNR career? And number 2 in a row whenever we take these Xfinity cars to an old worn-out track, as Jeff just said minutes ago?
I think I could definitely be a contention. I love running the old versions of the ovals, and because they burn up tires, and I love long runs, so I think I have a good chance of getting another one. But there's a lot of fast drivers that are just as good on the long run as me, so hopefully we'll keep it in one piece and maybe get a third one.
Sounds like a plan. Driver of the 57, Dakota Floyd, started second, taking home his second win in the SNR career. Is there anybody you'd like to say thanks to?
Definitely want to shout out the team. I know Morgan had a tough break there, getting involved up front there with Brewer a little bit. They made contact, and he pit and put himself in the back of the field, got caught up in some nonsense. I hate that for him because he had some phenomenal pace during that race. And Bradley had a really good night. He had a good top 10 finish, so shout outs to him. And shout out to the league. I know we had some incidents there after the stage break, but I mean, that's everybody just trying to get their track position back on the restarts after the stage yellow. So, but everybody was super respectful when I was up front. So thank you to everybody that raced me really clean, and thank you guys in the broadcast booth. You guys do phenomenal week in and week out. I'm super excited to go back and look at this one. And thanks to everybody that watches and supports me week in and week out.
Well, congratulations, Dakota Floyd. Go celebrate that second win. And we'll see you in just a few minutes here whenever we take the SNR Cup Series to Talladega.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful night.
Well, that concludes our post-race show here for Sonoma. Jeff Wright, again, you've always been a fantastic driver at this track. You know, what did you think, all in all, for everybody out here? You had 32 cars to start this race and finishing with, I believe, 28 still on track. Some pretty good numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this racetrack, and it's fun to drive, but, I mean, after calling this race here with you, Logan, I might have had more fun up here. So this race just put on such incredible action all throughout. A little disappointed we didn't really get to see the head-to-head battle between Philip Brewer and Dakota Floyd. I think those two obviously were the quickest tonight and kind of separated themselves from the rest of the field before it got a little chaotic. But all in all, I think we still got an incredible, great show tonight. A lot of great battles all throughout. And Dakota Floyd, you know, he took care of business tonight. Once he got out front, he did not look back. We saw Rob Denton kind of eat into that lead a little bit there in the late goings of the race, but I really thought it was going to be a tall task for anybody to challenge Dakota Floyd. And I'll tell you what, Dakota Floyd is really building that resume right now. An SNR Challenger Series champion and now a two-time race winner, joining the likes of Brian Chambliss and Nathan Ferrata as the only other repeat winners in the Challenger Series. So Dakota Floyd's probably feeling pretty good after tonight, and you mentioned he'll probably be a factor again next week at Old Kentucky.
Well, that'll do it here for the Challenger Series on Saturday night. Stick around here. We'll be right back with the coverage of the SNR Cup Series at Talladega. If you enjoyed tonight's broadcast, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel so you never miss another race. For everybody behind the scenes at the Saturday Night Racing League and everybody behind the scenes at V-Speed, Bradley Cooper, Adam Baker, Eddie Smith, Morgan Cook, a couple of those guys we saw on track tonight. And of course, our co-host, Jeff Wright, here in the booth week after week. My name's Logan Threlkeld, and we'll see you in just a few more minutes. Good night, everybody.